Hi, it's Sharon from SharonTheReader.com. I did a reading on the coronavirus and I thought maybe you would be interested in hearing about it. What we have to get through is the virus itself. Regardless of all else, it's here. We're going to take it from there. We're going to take it that it's here. I have listened to a few other people on YouTube and online who are kind of giving advice, if you take this, if you take that. Even Mr. Trump has weighed in with his cure. The fact is, as far as I'm concerned, there's no way am I going to talk about snake oil, because you could be doing your body more harm than good. Everyone knows that the best thing to do is build up your immune system. That is just common sense. So I'm going to leave it with just common sense. And this whole reading is just going to be based on what the cards say. No conspiracy theories, no snake oil, if anyone can call reading down to earth, which a lot of people do and can. Okay, I will say, and you will hear my cat in the background because he will not be quiet. This is what I got when I read about the virus. Firstly, there would be an action taken within a 5, and I would imagine that's actually 5 months, which is brought around by the science community and also the medical community combined together, that they do actually come up with some sort of a vaccine. Now, looking at the cards, I'm going to just read a few of them out to you, and I will post a photograph. Let's just take it from here. So we have within 5, we have the science community and the medical community coming together. So between the science and the medical profession, they do come up with a vaccine, which, thank goodness, will be more than beneficial and we will be more than happy to see. So that's roughly within a 5-month period they come up with that. We'd all like it to be sooner, but unfortunately, time is not ours for the taking here. And this is not something which is going to be played about with. The next card that is very dominant is that there are things in shadow areas, which always means that there are things that are hidden from us. Whatever governments do, whatever they don't do, and this is not conspiracy. It's just that it has been hidden. But I do believe that we all knew that certain countries did hold back the information that they should have given us. So we've got that card. You then have the next card that I'm actually looking at, which is talking about the illness itself. And normally when you see that, it is a large part of it has to do with the blood area. Now, I know that this virus apparently is supposed to be more of the chest and the respiratory problems. And I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to say anything in that line, but it just talks about problems with the blood and sickness. So I presume that's what we're actually talking about. The next one you have is the Devil card. The Devil card is not a good card. The Devil card is a person who can be very charming, or people who can be very, very charming on the surface, but underneath it, they don't actually have your best interest at heart. That would be a person, or they'd be people that you would need to be conscious of and very aware of. The next side is dealing with a person or people who are giving financial aid in this crisis. But it's not just financial aid in the crisis for where we're at the moment. This is financial aid in the crisis being put towards the vaccine itself. If when you see that particular person, people, you know that they expect results and they don't hold back financially. You can see it's affecting people. You can see that it's seriously affecting travel. And so with all of that, oh yes, and then we have the Justice card at the top. Now, whatever's gone on here, whatever this is about, within an 8-month period after the vaccine has been found, you will find that people do get justice. And justice is not always in court. It's not always monetary. But what it is it's where things become open Because remember I said that we have the moonlight card, which is things in shadow areas. Well, this one is the very opposite. This is just opening the moonlight card up and saying, we want justice. Here is the justice. Here is the truth. So with that said, I'm quite happy with those cards. There's other things. There's self-protection. It shows you self-protection in the card. 2 swords across yourself. Well, I think the government have made it plain enough that it really is about self-protecting. It's about people isolating themselves. It's about social distancing. It's certainly about hand washing and things like that. So you have a lot of stuff going on there to self-protect. The time zone that I got for the end is, and I wouldn't say the actual end, but I would say the tailing off would be July-August period. It seems to have done its worst, if you want, and that doesn't sound good. It's done its worst. But let's try and keep it on track and be cautious with our hand washing, with our social distancing, with all the things that we need to do. So round about the end of July, August, you'll start to see that it's starting to burn itself out, if you like. The real turn, if you want to call it that, is the month of October. At that point, that is where you'll find that the vaccine has worked and we're virtually free. You may find that it flutters a little bit, but at the end of the day, the good thing about that is while it flutters, we have a vaccine. We have something that's going to stop it. So I know they've said a year and a half. I'm not getting that. I'm not getting a year and a half. I'm not getting as long as that, right? Finances start to turn again because we all know we're in a financial difficult situation here. We know the economy is being hit like never before. Yet within 7 months, you'll find that it starts to slowly move round again. It starts to, I wouldn't say recover, but it's not working against itself anymore, which is really good. So I'm pleased about that. I'm happy about that. Let me just look at the other page here. This was quite interesting. This comes from a separate deck that I use. I'm just going to read you the cards. The first card was movement, choices and decisions. Do we move towards money? Do we go to work and endanger ourselves? And I know a lot of people have that problem. But having said that, do we move towards love? Which is a very interesting thing, because if you truly look at society, and I think if you look at my website, you'll see a lot of things on my view, in my opinion, of how people are interacting today, and I mean prior to the virus. We seem to have been a society that's been cut off from each other largely. We don't seem to have the same tribalism, if you know what I mean. Family tribalism, where, you've sisters, you've brothers, your children have their cousins to play with. That seems to not be happening so much today. So it is really about reconnecting as a society. And the one thing I will say is what I have found, that whilst, the news will show you people and they're pulling nappies or toilet rolls from each other's hands, and it looks bad, right? And I'm not saying it's not happening, but what I have actually witnessed was quite the opposite. I have seen people go out of their way to be really good neighbours. I've seen shop assistants and people who work in supermarkets and places where you're going in and out and you really need help, doing their utmost to come together and to work as a complete community. I've never seen the string of society being pulled in as tight as I've noticed since this virus has actually happened. The next thing you have after that is the movement, the choices, the decisions. The decisions would be how you choose to live your life throughout this thing. Your choices are the same, and your movements are, where do I feel safe enough to be? So that's a very interesting one. And then you have growth, right? You have a little shoot coming up from the earth of growth. So whilst it is not a good time, it does seem that society is taking a look at itself. It seems to be coming out in a much more maternal way, if that makes sense. The next card that came out was emotional loss. I don't think that needs explained. There has been a lot of deaths. There has been families torn apart by deaths. What can you say about that? Because we all think, or we all hope, that when it comes to the end of someone's life, it's going to be hopefully peaceful, hopefully in a hospital, and hopefully their family are going to be with them. So the emotional loss is, under any circumstances, difficult. Under these circumstances, I think it's even more difficult, because you don't have your last moments with your family. You don't have the end where they are taking their last breath with ease and just slipping from this world into the next. So at the end of the day, that emotional loss is going to affect the people who are left behind from the people who have passed on. The next card I'd like to look at is financial and material changes, which is actually a very interesting card. And again, it is talking about within a 5-month period. Now we know, and there's no one more guilty of it than me, I love some of my material things. Not all. You know, I'm not a person who's out shopping for clothes every week, right? Where I fall down is I love music. So generally speaking, on a weekly basis, I'll probably buy 1 CD. And, you know, and I put that maybe too high on my agenda. So it's a matter of looking at the material changes that we're going to have to make, because money is not going to be plentiful for a little while. We are going to have to cut back. And even when we balance ourselves back up again, we'll still have to find that balance and then work out what is necessary in our lives and what is important to us. Music will always be important to me, but probably with about 600 CDs, I think I could ease up a little bit. So, financial and material changes, okay? Does your family mean more to you than your work? And we all know that you have to work. But are you going to put them in danger? Are you not? And I think that a large part of that is going to come down to the government and how people are paid, and especially people who are self-employed, which are perhaps the most worrying people actually, because they really at the moment have nowhere to turn. So that's what that card is talking about. The next card is a very interesting card, and it talks about wisdom. And when you look at it, you can see a house and you can see a person, and the person has a book, and it's not, I'm not saying it's the Bible, but you know, we all look for books of wisdom. So at the end of the day, it's taking that wisdom that the person's bringing and it's making use of it. And that is a 5. Right? Above the card, you have the figure, the letter 5. The number 5. So in that, it really is about family. It's about your home and how you choose to keep your home, how you choose to run your home, how you choose to be a part of your home, because it can get people down. Loneliness is a very difficult thing. And when you're hit with loneliness, you know, suddenly like 24 hours in a day, and you're awake for probably 8 of them, maybe more, you're really going to be tired, right? You're going to be bored. What do you do? Check out my website for that. It's interesting, the things that I have there, right? And it's always worth a look. So not everything is mediumship there. There's a lot of stuff is just opinions. There's a lot of stuff is poetry. there's a lot of stuff there. Go there and have a look and see what is going to, keep you from getting bored and suddenly getting, cabin fever and you want to go out, okay? But it's not safe to go out. The next one you have is discontent and boredom, which basically says the same as the other one. Yes, people of course are going to be discontent. Of course they're going to be bored. If you're in your home all that time, how could you not be bored? Find things that interest you. Work with them. Do what you need to do, right? And you will find that it's not as boring as you think. You can sit in the garden, you can read a book. If you're a person who's artistic, get your oils out, get your paintings out. If you're a person who thinks, as I say, take a look at my website. There's a lot of philosophy there. There are questions that, we don't have the time in the everyday world to be looking at. So when you're bored and when you're discontent, go in, take a look, have a think about life itself. It's probably the first time in a very long time any of us have had the chance to actually internally look at how we feel about certain things. Make use of it. Enjoy it as best you can. You've got nothing else to do, so you may as well make the best of that part. And then you have rejoice and celebration. Now that card is obviously a card that is talking about, yes, things will improve, things do get better, okay? That is a 3 to 5 month card. So at the end of the day, you can see that there are 3 people, right, who are celebrating. And that doesn't mean to say that there are actually 3 people who are celebrating, right? It just simply means that there are 3 areas in the world, in life, where there is a celebration that we have come to the other side of this virus. So that's really, to me, very promising. And it's a really hopeful, it's a beautiful card, to be honest with you. These cards will be posted, so they are worth looking at. The last card that comes out in the second deck, and it's the second deck we're dealing with at the moment, is Foundations and Achievements. I just wonder, and this is not a down on anybody any more than it's a down on me. I'm no different from anybody else. Let's look at the way we've been living. We have been running on empty. We have ran to work. We have ran home. We have cooked. We have cleaned. We have reached the settee to sit down. We barely have time to speak to our family for a lot of the time. We're on a treadmill. We're like a conveyor belt. So basically, it's now really time to look at what is your foundation. My foundation is doing the work that I do. That is my foundation. That is the one thing that gives me personally the most enjoyment in my life. Certainly, I love going to the cinema. I like going into town and doing a bit of shopping. I like maybe entertaining myself, as people do, having a meal with friends. But at the end of the day, that was not a foundation. That was just something that people do. And it's good, because when you're around people, it actually makes you feel good about yourself, provided they're the right people and they're not people who bring you down. But it is not your foundation. Your foundation is the ground that you stand on and the truth that you believe and that you live with and that you live in. Your achievements can be many things. Everybody has different achievements. Personally speaking, my achievements have been over the years, I'll be honest with you, looking back, they've been pretty incredible for me. They've been incredible because of a situation that was in my life that was not good. That was anything but good. And I could not see a way out of it. And suddenly I just got this thing called backbone. And from the backbone, my attitude became, I don't care what I do. I will do what I need to survive. I will do what I need to survive. And from that, the word no never came in to my vocabulary. It just didn't come in. I just did not let that word in. Now, the virus could hit me tomorrow. And at the end of the day, I have to be honest with you, my backbone is not going to stop that. Let's not be foolish here. But I would honestly say, yes, there was a time and my back was totally against a wall and there was no way out. And then suddenly this thing came in and it created a backbone like I have never felt in my life. And I never lost it. As a matter of fact, what I did was I kept adding to it. So that's one of the things that I would say is one of my achievements. I refused to hear the word no. I always felt that there was another way. And you're the same. You have your foundation. And if you haven't thought about it yet, go into yourself and find it. Find where your foundation is. And you know your achievements just as I know mine. And they're not massive. But I'll be honest with you, for me, they were massive. I left a relationship that really should have been over before it even began. I homeschooled my child because it seemed the right thing to do under the circumstances. He then went on to university and is very happy living his career now. I started doing readings with purpose. With purpose. And there is a difference if, and I've went to many readers and they throw out cards and it's blah, 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 and God bless them. It's fine. No, they're charging whatever they're charging. It's fine. It's their way of making money. Are they good? That's for each person to work out themselves. For me personally, when I take readings into my heart and to the clients that I read for what's best and how to get around things which are going to be difficult for them. So I would honestly say that that's one of the things that I would say, yeah, I did achieve, and I achieved on my own terms. So for that, I take maybe not pride, but I accept that it was a big achievement. So before we're finished, let's see. Just a little thing I wrote down here. Yes, okay. If, and I know everyone is, washing their hands religiously and constantly, have you noticed how painful your hands have become? Because it really dries them out. So what I would say is there is a hand cream. I have a love-hate relationship with it. It's so greasy. It's incredibly greasy. And it's called L'Occitane. So, and this is for male and female. There's no perfume with it. It just smells of what I would call cleanliness. Don't use a lot of it because it really, you'll be taking a towel and taking half of it off. But, we're just the people who are, I don't mean just, but we are the people who are sitting at home trying to do our jobs by phone, by internet, things like that. Think how dry our hands are. And then think of the medical profession who are constantly drying their hands. Can we ever, ever, ever give enough thanks to the people who are right on the front line? And that's the people who are in the medical profession, who are going from people's homes to see that they're okay. Also the people in like Tesco, Sainsbury's, Poundland, Iceland, who are with you every day. You know, can we ever thank those people enough for doing what they're doing? Yes, they are getting paid. Can anybody pay anybody for putting themselves in that position while we socially isolate and keep our distance? They do their best, but look how many people they're encountering in a day. Truthfully, just for people who go, oh, my hands are so sore because mine were really sore. No one ever realizes when you do that 20-second hand wash how drying it is. Get yourself, or promise yourself at the end of this, a tube of L'Occitane hand cream. It is probably about, I think, £21, and it's pretty large, and it'll last you a long time, right? At the end, you'll get back your hands. So I just think that we have done such a wonderful job here, and I'm talking about the people, I'm talking about the medical staff, I'm talking about the neighbour who will say, you know, if I'm going out and I can be of any way helpful. Those are the people who really, really, really need to be thanked. And I do believe that it has brought a community and a society together. And I don't think that we would have ever reached that without this unfortunate thing coming in. Because I really think that we had lost our sense of the earth and our sense of the world. Because everything was starting to move too fast. Everything was go, 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 get, buy. It's so materialistic. I have no idea where this thing is, came from, or whatever. But I would honestly turn around and say we were destroying our earth. That I do believe. We were destroying our earth. And perhaps the earth had had enough and it just said stop. So I am going to stop. And I'm going to say I hope this was not boring for you, or you were going, oh my gosh, when is she going to stop? Right? I'm going to land on a lighter note because we can't be too serious all the time. We know what we have to do and we're going to do it. A lot of my clients are people who have broke up with a boyfriend, difficulties in their relationships, blah, blah, blah. And I understand those people so well. But there is a song, and I have adapted it, and it's the Dixie Chicks, and it's called Gaslighting. And it is a brilliant song. And if you feel that you're losing backbone anywhere, don't take exactly what they're saying in the song. Just take the oomph, if you want, the real spunk, and add it into your life. I play it every night going to bed. And it really, you know, I can see like 6 months down the line or a year down the line. It's going to be the song where you go, oh my God, I so associate that with the coronavirus. But having said that, our memories are based on the books that we read at certain times in our life and the music we listened to at certain times in our life. So, give it a shot, download it, and just play it once a day. Because at the end of the day, it's fun. It's serious, but it's fun. And it's very uplifting. So, genuinely, I hope you are all keeping really well. I do believe that there was something behind this virus because we should have had the information earlier and we were not given it. 5 months, I'm putting towards it'll take a while for the economy to get up and running, but isn't living life much more important than the economy? Isn't having bread and butter on your table much more important than anything else? And Isn't it sad that we had to come to this stage before society pulled together? Well, we seem to be pulling together very well, and I hope we continue to do so. So I'm going to say thanks for listening. It's always been my pleasure to speak to you. Put your comments down below. I would love to hear them. Check out my website. It is called sharonthereader.com. I do readings, and I do phone readings. And if anyone wants a reading, all the information's there. I don't believe in making a lot of money from a reading. I just think it's just not on. There was someone I noticed, and was I think $150 for a reading of 20 minutes. Come on. Who has that type of money to throw around them? And if you really believe in your gift, why would you charge that amount of money? It doesn't make sense. You're supposed to be helping people, so let's help them. Feel free to contact me at any point. I want to hear your comments. I would like to get to know you better, and I would just wish you all the best of health, happiness, and I hope you all keep very, very, very well. Take good care of yourselves, and then take good care of everyone else. So it's you first taking care of yourself, and then after that, you have the ability to care for others. Take care. God bless. You will hear from me again soon. Thank you. Bye.